So there are two painters in the Renaissance that I have become very fond of. One is Cimabue, and one is Masaccio, and they're both early Renaissance painters. Masaccio is probably almost 100 years later than Cimabue. And Cimabue is famous because of paintings of his that have been destroyed in the earthquake in Assisi, and another one that was destroyed in Florence when the flood was in 1966. So Masaccio did a painting that was called the Feminine Trinity, and apparently it was a conceit of the early Renaissance to do Saint Anne and the Virgin Mary and the infant Jesus, grandmother, mother, and grandson, or son and grandson. And Cimabue was a mosaicist before he was a painter, and his paintings, as well as his mosaics, have this Byzantine quality with the big heads and the glowing colors. Masaccio is much more subtle, but I used the two things and two painters as my kind of inspiration to do this. So this is the grandmother in green looking at the daughter in blue, and the Christ child doing this form with his hand, which was also a conceit of the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Baroque era, even unto the present, where Christ is always doing this or this or this with 2 or 3 fingers separating his hand into the 3 fingers of the Trinity, the 2 fingers of the 2 natures of the second person of the Trinity, the one who was crucified. So that's what's going on there. And the idea that the child seems a little diffident and even commanding, while the mother and grandmother seem really concerned. I like that a lot. This funny thing in the brow, that's a Byzantine conceit. They did that all the time. The big heads mean that's where the holiness is. I like that the mother's hand is holding the child's fingers at the very bottom of the painting.
See that you paint all the way to the edge of paintings.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that purpose?
Purposeful, but also I'm always telling kids in class you have to address the edge. And you'll notice the halo just kisses the edge. And here the grandmother's head goes over the edge, so she's bigger kind of than the painting. The Christ's halo goes off the edge. And we enter into this painting through the mother or grandmother's hand and the mother and the son's hand. That's where the painting seems to be open. And kind of in a Navajo principle, the open thing is how you get into the two-dimensional space. So we get in through the bottom, or through the halos.
Do you want to talk a little about the halos?
No, except they were hard. They kind of overlap, and at least the mother and grandmother. And the Virgin's halo does not cover the face of the Saint Anne. And that was a big problem in the time of Giotto, who follows Cimabue as the main painter of the Renaissance, but before Masaccio comes along, where they don't know what to do with the halos. And for a while, they make the halos seem to be attached to the head, so when the person bends, the halo bends with them. And when so the halo would turn like that, as though it were part of the person. And then they come up with some ways of making them interact as though they are something else. But it's a design problem. And to be honest, the last part of this painting was adding those little kind of transparent veils to the back of the mother and grandmother's outfits, because I thought they looked too big-headed, and I wanted to gentle that. So I made them a little less Byzantine, but that's all right. They also seem a little cross-eyed, which I like too. I don't know why, really. I guess I like Karen Black as an actress. Yeah.